Hello, shalom. Read with me Yohanan, John 3. And there was a man of the Pharisees, Nicodemus was his name, ruler of the Judean, the Jews. This one came to Yeshua by night and said to him, Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher come from Elohim, for no one is able to do these signs you do if Elohim is not with you. Yeshua answered and said to him, Truly, truly, I say to you, unless one is born from above, he is unable to see the reign of Elohim. Nicodemus said to him, How is a man able to be born when he is old? Is he able to enter into his mother's womb a second time and be born? And Yeshua answered, Truly, truly, I say to you, unless you were born of water and the Spirit, he is unable to enter into the reign of Elohim. That which has been born of the flesh is flesh, and that which has been born of the Spirit is spirit. Do not marvel that I said to you, you have to be born from above. The wind blows where it wishes, and you hear the sound of it, but do you know where it comes from and where it goes? So is everyone who has been born of the Spirit. Nicodemus answered and said to him, How is it possible for this to take place? And Yeshua answered and said to him, Are you the teacher of Israel and do not know this? Truly, truly, I say to you, we speak what we know and witness what we have seen, and you do not receive our witness. R is capitalized, capital O. So referring to Yeshua and Yahweh. If you do not believe when I spoke to you about earthly matters, how are you going to believe when I speak to you about the heavenly matters? And no one has gone up into the heavens except he who has come down from the heavens, the Son of Adam. And Moshe lifted up the serpent to the wilderness. Even so the Son of Adam has to be lifted, so that whoever is believing in him should not perish but possess everlasting life. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only brought forth Son, so that everyone who believes in him should not perish but possess everlasting life. For Elohim did not send his Son into the world to judge the world, but that the world through him might be saved. But he who believes in him is not judged, but he who does not believe is judged already, because he has not believed in the name of the only brought forth Son of Elohim. And this is the judgment, that the light has come into the world, and men loved the darkness rather than the light, for their works were wicked. For everyone who is practicing evil matters hates the light and does not come to the light, lest his works should be exposed. But the one doing the truth comes to the light, so that his works are clearly seen, that they have been wrought in Elohim. After this, Yeshua and his taught ones came into the land of Judah, and he remained there with them, and was immersing. And Yohanan was also immersing in the Ayin near Salim, because there were plenty of water there. And they were coming and were being immersed. For Yohanan, John the Baptist, had not been yet put into prison. Then a dispute arose between some of John's taught ones and the Judean about cleansing. And they came to John and said to him, Rabbi, he who has been with you beyond the Jordan, to whom you have witnessed, he is immersing, and all those coming to him. John answered and said, No man is able to receive any matter unless it is given to him from heaven. You yourselves are witnesses for me, that I said I am not the Messiah, that I am set ahead of him, that has the bride of the bridegroom, and the friend of the bridegroom, who stands and hears him, rejoices greatly because of the voice of the bridegroom, so that this joy of mine is complete. It is right for him to increase, but me to decrease. He who comes from above is over all. He who is from the earth is of the earth and speaks of the earth. And he who comes from the heavens is over all. And that he has seen and heard, that he witnesses, and no one receives his witness. He who receives his witness has set his seal that Elohim is true. For he whom Elohim has sent speaks the words of Elohim. For Elohim does not give the Spirit by measure. The Father loves the Son and has given all into his hand. He who believes in the Son possesses everlasting life, but he who does not obey the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of Elohim remains on him. Verse 19. And this is the judgment, that the light has come into the world, and men loved the darkness rather than the light, for their works were wicked. Revelation 19:11 through 21. Talks about the judgment. And I saw the heaven opened, and there was a white horse, and he who sat on him was called Trustworthy and True, and in righteousness he judges and fights. And his eyes were as flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, having a name that had been written, which no one had perceived except him, and having been dressed in a robe dipped in blood, and his name called the Word of Yahweh. And the armies in the heavens, dressed in fine linen, white and clean, followed him on the white horses. And out of his mouth goes a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. He shall shepherd them with a rod of iron. And he treads the winepress of the fierceness and wrath of El Shaddai. And on his robe and on his thigh he has a name written, King of Kings, or Sovereigns and Sovereigns, and Master of Masters, Lord of Lords. And I saw one messenger standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the birds that fly in mid-heaven, Come and gather together for the supper of the great Elohim, to eat the flesh of the sovereigns, and the flesh of the commanders, and the flesh of the strong ones, and the flesh of the horses of those who sit on them, and the flesh of all the people, free and slave, both small and great. And I saw the beasts and the sovereigns of the earth and their armies gathered together to fight him who sat on the horse of his army. And the beast was seized, and with him the false prophet who who worked signs in his presence, by which he led astray those who received the mark of the beast and those who worshipped his image. The two were thrown alive into the lake of fire burning with sulfur, and the rest were killed with the sword, which came into the mouth of him who sat on the horse, and all the birds were filled with their flesh. And this is the judgment that in the light has come into the world. And men loved darkness rather than the light, for their works were wicked. Shalom. Make it a great day. Read your Bible and talk to the Father.